A very warm welcome to everyone. Today we are going to cover the BBA first year topic of financial accounting, that is how trial balance is prepared and what are the methods of preparing trial balance. What is trial balance? Trial balance is prepared in statement form which shows the debit and credit balances of books of ledger or of debit total and credit total of accounts of ledger including cash and bank balances taken from cash book. It is prepared at the end of accounting period. So the trial balance basically consists of the debit and credit balances of books of ledger. As every debit has corresponding credit, hence the total of debit balance of trial balance is always equal to total of credit balance. If the debit balance does not matches with the credit balance, this means that there is some arithmetical error that has been occurred in the books of ledger. So the accuracy of books of accounts can be evaluated by preparing trial balance. A trial balance is a report that lists the balances of general ledger accounts of company. So basically, what is the process of preparing trial balance? We go for the accounting process, then we go for journal, then we go for ledger, and after ledger we prepare trial balance. Then after preparing the trial balance, we prepare the financial statement, that is profit and loss account and the balance sheet. Why we prepare trial balance before the financial statements? The reason behind is that to check the arithmetical accuracy of books of accounts. So it is a prior step for the preparation of financial statement. Now, why do we prepare trial balance? This question arises in most of our mind. What is the reason behind preparing the trial balance? First is to establish the arithmetical accuracy of books of accounts, to provide a base for presentation of financial statements, to summarize the ledger accounts. So these are the reasons why we prepare trial balance, because we have to check the arithmetical accuracy, we have to provide a base for the preparation of financial statements, and to make the summary of ledger accounts. That is why we prepare the trial balance. Now, how do we prepare trial balance? We have a general format. The first is the serial number, name of account, ledger folio, debit balance and credit balance, depending upon the method we adopt. Now, how to prepare trial balance? Firstly, we have to make sure that all ledger accounts are balanced, because without balancing the ledger accounts, we cannot prepare trial balance. Second, transferring the closing balances of each ledger account to appropriate debit and credit column. The second step is to transferring of balances from ledger, whether the balance is debit or whether the balance is credit. We have to transfer those balances to the appropriate debit and credit columns. Then we have to add up the amount of debit and credit columns. If it matches, then you are good to go and close the trial balance. But if your trial balance does not matches, it means we have to rectify some errors that has been occurred. Now, what are the methods of preparing trial balance? Basically, there are three methods for preparing trial balance, which are as follow. First is total method, second is balance method, and third is total and balance method. So these are the three methods that we adopt for the preparation of trial balance. Now, starting with the first method, that is total method. Under this method, the debit total and the credit total of each account of ledger are recorded in the trial balance. That is, when we prepare the ledger or when we close down the ledger accounts, we have some balances over there. Whether that balance is ledger on the debit side of the ledger or on the credit side of the ledger, we take those balances to the trial balance. In this method, trial balance can be prepared as soon as ledger account is total. We have to first balance the ledger accounts, then only we can prepare the trial balance. Time taken to balance the ledger accounts is saved under this method. Balance can be found out in trial balance itself. The difference of total of each ledger account is the balance of the particular account. This method is not commonly used as it cannot help them in preparation of financial statements. So, total method usually is not a very fruitful method for preparation of the financial statement. So, we give least priority to this method. Now, steps to be followed while preparing trial balance under total method. What all steps we follow? Whenever we adopt total method, there are some steps that we inculcate. Now, first point is that calculate the total of debit side and the credit side of ledger accounts, including cash book individually. Enter the name of the account in a particular column and then enter the debit total in the debit column and the credit total in the credit column for the each account separately. Thirdly, enter the page number of the ledger from which the balance is taken in from the ledger folio column. Now find the sum of the debit total and the credit total column. It must be equal. If not equal, locate the error and make the trial balance agree. So I hope you are clear with the subject, with the steps of how to use total method in preparation of trial balance. Now, I give you one example. Here I show you one cash account which has two sides. One side is the debit, another side is credit side. Right? So I have, see, the total of the debit side is 35,500 and the total of credit side is 28,000. That means credit side is fall short from the debit side. But what we have to do, we have to take the totals. Now, the total of furniture account is, see, cash account is 20,000. Then salary account is 12. Salaried account is, sales account is 30,500. Now, we will write the name of all these accounts, that is cash account, furniture account, salaries account, sales account, capital account. We will write the totals, that is total of the debit. Now cash account has debit balance, right? So we'll take the balance from the total from the debit side. So we'll write the total of cash column from debit and total of cash from the credit side. It was 35,500 and from the credit total was 28,000. In the same way, furniture account 20,000 was the total, salaried account 12,500 was total, sales account 30,500, capital account 500 was on the debit side total and 10,000 was on the credit side total. Then you have to do the balancing of this trial balance. The total of the debit items and the total of the credit items should match. That is 68,500 should match with the total of credit total, that is 68,500. That means our ledgers that we have prepared is arithmetically correct, that we have checked from the preparation of trial balance. Now, the second method is balance method. Under this method, only balance of each account of ledger is recorded in trial balance. That is, we don't take the total of the ledger account, rather we take the balance that we have calculated in ledger accounts. Some accounts may have debit balance and other may have credit balance. All these debit and credit balance are recorded in it. Now, the question arises, which account will be taken as debit balance, which account will be taken as credit balance? The answer to this question is that all those things that belongs to the business have the debit balances, and all those things which does not belong to the business or it belongs to the third person is having credit balance. Then all the expenses and your losses have debit balance, and all your incomes and gains have credit balance. Now, the following are the steps to prepare trial balance under this method. The first step is to calculate the balances of all ledger accounts, including cash book. Record the names of accounts in a particular column and the amount of debit balance in debit column and the credit balance in credit column. Then enter the page number of the ledger from which the balance has been taken, that is the ledger folio column. The total of the debit and the credit column, it must be equal, and if not equal, locate the error and make the trial balance agree. Again, you have to take balances from the ledger. From there you have to put it in trial balance, and then you have to do the total of the credit balance of the debit total of the debit column and that of credit column. If the column matches, then it's okay, but if the column doesn't matches, then you have to locate for the errors. Now, give you one example. This is the cash account again. The balance carried down, that is 7,500. We have to take in balance method, we have to take the balances. Here the balances of cash account is 7,500. Furniture account is 20,000. Then balance of salaried account is 12,500. Then the balance of the sales account is 30,500. Now, when we prepare the trial balance, the format will be serial number, name of the account, total of debit balances, then total of credit balances. Now, we have studied in cash account, the balance was of rupees 7,500. Since cash belongs to business, it has debit balance, that is why we have put it under the debit column. Furniture belongs to the business, it has debit balance, that is why I have written the total under debit column. Salaries is the expenses of the business. The next, I told you that expenses are always debited. Sales is the revenue, and revenue is always credited. That is why we have put 30,500 in credit column. Then your capital is again your liability, and liabilities are credited because the capital belongs to the proprietor. It's the money contributed by the proprietor, it's the liability for the business, and liabilities are credited, that is why it's having a credit balance of rupees 9,500. Now you can see that when we do the total of debit column and when we do the total of credit column, the amount comes to be same, that is 40,000. Now the third method is total and balance method. We have studied first method was total method, where we take the total of the ledger accounts. Second method was balance method, in which we take the balances of the ledger account. And the third method is the composition or combination of first two methods, that is total and balance method. That is, under this method we take both the things, that is totals also and balance also. This method is a combination of both total method and balance method. Under this method, there are 7 columns that we have to provide. That is, first is your serial number, then second is your head of the accounts, then is your ledger folio, then fourth column is of total of debit side of ledger account, then fifth column is the total of the credit side of ledger account, then your sixth column is debit balance of ledger accounts, and the seventh column is your credit balance of the ledger accounts. Usually this method is not in practice. The best method is the balance method that most of the accountant adopt in order to check the arithmetical accuracy of books of accounts. Now, how do we prepare trial balance under total and balance method? What are the steps? Now, first we have to calculate the total of debit and credit columns of all ledger accounts and calculate the balances in each ledger accounts. First we have to, that is, balance our ledger accounts. After balancing and totaling our ledger account, the second step is to enter the name of the account in the particular column and enter the debit total in the debit column and the credit total in the credit column separately. Then also, since there are 7 columns, there is a column of debit balance and there is a column of credit balance. So we will write the balances from that particular account in the debit balance column and in the credit balance column. Third step is to enter the page number of the ledger from which the balance has been taken, that is entered in the ledger folio column. And then the last step is to total all the columns, that is the total of debit column and the total of credit column and the total of the balances of debit column and the total of balances of credit column. If it is equal, that means you have prepared the accounts with good arithmetical accuracy. But if there is a inadequacy or the balances doesn't match or the total doesn't match of the trial balance, you have to locate for the errors. I give you one example of how to prepare trial balance under total and balance method. This is the format for this. Serial number, I told you there are 7 columns. You write the serial number, head of the account, your name of the account, then ledger folio, debit balance, credit balance, debit total and credit total. Now you can see down that the according to balance method, the debit balance method, balancing method, total is 40,000, and under total method the balance comes to be 68,500. That means both the column tally. It means we have prepared our ledger accounts with good arithmetical accuracy. Thank you very much. This is all from my side today. Hope you understand the concept of trial balance. How do we prepare trial balance and what are the methods of preparing trial balance? Hope you gain the knowledge how to prepare. Stay safe, stay healthy, and looking for your further connectivity. Thank you.